Good morning, listeners. This is Linda from News in Bed with the headlines that you need to know before getting out of bed. Today is Monday, November 9th, 2015. The following story was first reported on Radio Free Asia. The Vietnamese have criticized a speech given by Chinese President Xi Jinping before the country's parliament for not addressing the contentious issue concerning the territorial sovereignty of two sets of islands in the South China Sea being claimed by both nations. Xi Jinping emphasized to lawmakers on Thursday the friendly relations between the two communist-led countries and urged them to promote common development. China and Vietnam should look to friendly negotiations to settle disputes in a friendly manner and prevent our relations from deviating from the mainstream, he said to lawmakers in Hanoi during the official two-day visit, which ended last Friday, but failed to mention territorial tussles in the South China Sea, known as the East Sea to the Vietnamese. Many Vietnamese were displeased with Xi Jinping's avoidance of any specific mention of the lengthy dispute between the two nations over the sovereignty of the Paracel and Spratly, respectively known as Hoang Sa and Truong Sa in Vietnamese, islands, where Chinese forces have attacked several Vietnamese fishing boats. Last year, Vietnam vehemently opposed the stationing of a Chinese oil rig in disputed waters, which caused minor maritime confrontations and deadly rioting in Vietnam that targeted Chinese businesses. I see that his speech did not have an aggressive tone, but obviously he still does not recognize Vietnam's sovereignty over the Paracel and Spratly Islands, or at least admit that there is a dispute, Catholic priest Lê Ngọc Thanh from Ho Chi Minh City tells RFA's Vietnamese service after reading reports about the address. He only said things in a general way to fool the National Assembly. I think his speech was not genuine, and he tried to avoid the one thing that all the National Assembly delegates wanted to hear about, the Spratly and Paracel Islands. Thanh accused Vietnamese lawmakers and National Assembly Chairman Nguyễn Sinh Hùng of being passive and avoiding comment on Xi's speech. Hanoi state media had reported that Xi and Vietnamese President Truong Tấn Sang discussed the South China Sea issue candidly during meetings, although the public remained unaware of how candid they really were. In Vietnam, they, referring to lawmakers and leaders, get paid with people's taxes, so they are supposed to be elected by the people, Thanh says. But they still look down on the people, thinking that they do not know anything and refusing to reveal the truth. Up until now, we still don't know what they told China. Writer Võ Văn Bảo from Nha Trang tells RFA that the public wanted to know what Xi Jinping would say about the South China Sea issue and how the National Assembly lawmakers would react after his speech. We wondered if he would say something like what he told the U.S. president, that China has core interests in the South China Sea, he says, referring to a comment Xi made in September during an official visit to the U.S. Because of the sensitivity of the comment, Tao surmised that both sides discussed the contents of Xi Jinping's speech before he gave it, so as not to jeopardize the image of the friendly relationship between the two countries. In fact, the 20-minute speech did not touch upon any disputes between the two countries in the South China Sea, Tao says. He only talked about mottos and being good neighbors, which we have been hearing for the past 7 or 8 years. Citing a statement by Vietnam's Foreign Affairs Ministry, Reuters reports that Vietnamese President Truong Tấn Sang did in fact tell Xi Jinping that relations between the two countries have been reduced because of disagreements and disputes. Sang called on both nations to increase political trust and to seek satisfactory resolution of existing issues. Xi Jinping wrapped up his visit on Friday, with both sides pledging to maintain peace at sea and to build up their mutual trust, right before Reuters released a report stating that Vietnam had invited China's nemesis Japan to participate in joint naval exercises and sail a warship into its base in Cam Ranh Bay. On the first day of Xi Jinping's visit, dozens of activists had held rare demonstrations in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City, resulting in a harsh crackdown by police who beat and detained them, sources tell RFA. Although protests are not the norm in one-party communist Vietnam, The government has allowed controlled levels of dissent against China over sovereignty of the Paracel and Spratly Islands. On Wednesday, non-governmental organizations in Hanoi held a seminar on Vietnam's maritime sovereignty, while activists staged a demonstration in Ho Chi Minh City, each of which attracted around 100 people, although authorities did not intervene. China claims sovereignty over the Paracel Islands, which are also claimed by Vietnam and Taiwan, and has similarly claimed the Spratly Islands, which Vietnam, the Philippines, and Malaysia consider part of their sovereign territory. The islands are located amid strategic shipping lanes, abundant fishing grounds, and oil and natural gas reserves. And that is our headline for today. Have a wonderful start to your week, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Hỏi bây giờ con nha. Các em muốn bắt. Sợ cháu gì nha. Thôi được rồi. Bây giờ nhưng mà đánh người không có cái đông gì tìm khó lắm sợ bị đạp rồi đó. Cái này nó cũng rớt xuống dưới. Xuống rồi thì rớt cái chồng.
Chống Trung Quốc này. Đúng rồi, để chống
Trung Quốc không được, tại sao lại đánh người ta để ra khẩu hiệu của người ta? Không được, an ninh xung quanh đây này. Công an đây để đánh người ta. Bây giờ bắt gì bắt đúng rồi, đánh được ta như nước dân dân. Lê sâu bản thân